Hey everyone, what's going on? And happy New Year's to everybody out there. Thank you so much for sticking with the channel throughout the year. I've had some downtime where I have not been making some videos throughout the year. And for everybody who has stuck with me and watched these videos continuously, I greatly appreciate it. Now, for this particular video, I'm going to count down my top 5 films of this year that I have in my possession that have been released physically. There are some films that have not come out that I did see, and one film in particular, Barbarian, which I thought was freaking crazy, was nuts. Yeah, that one will be added to the collection when it does finally get a physical release. But that one might have made the list too, had I, had it in my possession. But I want to stick with films. It's easier to narrow it down that way. Sticking with films I actually have in my hand physically. Anybody who knows, what I've talked about on the channel throughout the year, probably have a good idea of what number 1 is. But these are my top 5 films, all on 4K, that have come out this year that I have on 4K disc physically. So, number 5. This was a film that I enjoyed so much. The bromance between these two was just off the charts. It was great. I want to see another film with these two in, together again. Nicolas Cage as well as Pedro Pascal. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Number 5 for the year. I think this film caught a lot of people off guard. It was one of those films that could have went either way. It was going to be so good that it was great, or just one of those films that was going to be so bad it was bad. But this was a film that definitely made people notice Nicolas Cage again. And I think, like I said, between the two of them, the comedy was so freaking good in this film. Pedro was great. I haven't, seen him in a lot of comedies, but like I said, the two of them together, chemistry, perfect chemistry on screen. Loved it. Absolutely loved every second of this film. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Starring Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage. Definitely my number 5 for the year. My number 4 film for the year, Robert Pattinson in The Batman. I have it in protected case here, so hopefully you don't have too much of a glare. It's a Best Buy exclusive Steelbook. But I just really love the grittiness to this version of Batman. It got back to Batman, yeah, kicking ass, but it was more of the detective style of Batman. The early years where Batman's still going to make some mistakes here and there, tracking down, people, the criminals, in this particular instance, the Riddler. And like I said, he's still going to, stumble and bumble and make some mistakes here and there. But I think the film, the grittiness, is what really got it's dark, and Robert Pattinson does a great job, I think, as an early version of, The Dark Knight. And it goes back to those old, the detective comics of old, with him just, solving mysteries. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that different kind of take for a theatrical release for a Batman film. And for that, it definitely gets a number 4 spot in my top 5 for the year. Number 3, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Once again, Steelbook exclusive from Best Buy. I saw this in theaters, and it was trippy. It really was trippy. Was it this film that I think I was really expecting a lot more, which probably would have put it a little bit higher on my list. But I really enjoyed what I did see. And, John Krasinski as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. That was something that definitely got a big old, I clapped my hands for that one in the theater. Absolutely loved it. And I think Elizabeth Olsen, she just kills it as Wanda. Like, the creepiness factor, Sam Raimi, directing this, you definitely get the horror vibes. Especially when she's like, if you haven't seen the film, I'm sorry. It's not really that much of a spoiler when she's chasing down Doctor Strange in these tunnels. And her face is kind of like cut up and everything. It's creepy. And I think she sold that so perfectly. And I think she did a great job as Wanda once again in this film. So Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, my number 3 film for the year. Number 2, now, you know me. If you've seen the channel, if you watched many of my videos, I love this franchise. It's my number 1 franchise of all time. Been there opening weekend for every single film in this franchise. And, of course, this is the Jurassic World Ultimate Collection on 4K. And the film I'm talking about is Jurassic World Dominion. I know some people had problems with that film. And I don't think it's the best film out of the Jurassic Park / World franchise. It's very hard. It's very, very hard after 6 films to even try to be. You're never going to surpass the original Jurassic Park. It's just not going to happen. Not for me. It's never going to happen. My favorite film of all time. I think Dominion is, especially when I did see it the first time, I enjoyed it. But I think going into it, I heard a lot of negative things about it. So going back and seeing it again, just watching it by myself on 4K, no distractions around or anything like that, I enjoyed it a lot more. I was able to pick up on some things I did miss the first time when I did see it. So it was a lot more enjoyable the second time around. And it's not a terrible film. I like it. It's my number 2 for the year. But it's definitely, it's probably at least right now, I've changed my flip-flop my mind on some of the Jurassic Park / World films. But right now, I probably think it's in the last place for the Jurassic World films, and Jurassic Park films too. But I still think it's a pretty darn good, enjoyable flick with some great action, some great dino action, and I've just seeing the OGs with the new cast. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Seeing Chris Pratt and Sam Neill right there side by side. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So anytime you get Jeff Goldblum, theatrical film with Mr. Bloom in there, Goldblum in there, I love it. Absolutely love it. So that Jurassic World Dominion, I enjoyed it. I did really enjoy it. Like I said, enjoyed it a lot more the second time around, which probably helped lift it up to my number 2 spot. Now, number 1, no surprise at all. It is one of my, I'm going to dare say one of my top films of all time now. Of all time. Nothing will surpass this film for this year. And like I said, I haven't seen the new Avatar, but I can almost guarantee that it will not. I guarantee that it will not pass this film, because this film was a perfect 10 out of 10. After the long wait, waiting for this film to come out the last few years after delays and after, COVID, seeing this film get released and seeing it just explode the way that it did. It just blows my mind. For a sequel to come out that long, many years, decades later, and to just destroy the box office for the number of months that it did. I don't think it's ever going to be, I don't see a film being able to have this longevity again for quite some time, and just being able to stay theatrical for as long as it did. And that film, of course, is Top Gun Maverick with Tom Cruise. Perfect 10 out of 10. Got the Steelbook here from Best Buy. And there's not many more things I can say about this film that I haven't already said. I do believe, in my opinion, that this film originally, when it was supposed to come out around Christmas a few years ago, I don't think it would have had the longevity and done as well as it did this year, had it come out then. I think the fact that it came out Memorial Day weekend this year, and obviously coming off some positive news going into it, I think it definitely helped it. I mean, this is a film that, if you're here in the States, Memorial Day weekend, 4th of July weekend, as well as, coming into Labor Day as well. The three big holidays for the summer here in the States. And this film was in the box office, was still at the box office, making money even at that time. That's unheard of. And to still be in the top 10 that late into the season, it just baffles my mind. But again, because this film is I can't find a flaw in this film. It's absolutely a perfect film. And they put so much time, effort, and so many little details here and there, paying homage to the original Top Gun, that, yeah, I can't find anything wrong with this film. I really can't. Again, that's my opinion, but it definitely makes my number 1, hands down, for the year. Absolutely. And I had no doubt after I left the theater seeing it back in May that it was going to be my number 1. And that, that was even before I saw Jurassic World Dominion. But I knew it was going to be my number 1. And did not, nothing has changed. I definitely love this film. And I think it's a perfect film. Absolutely. I keep saying it. I've talked about it so many times on the channel. So, those are my top 5 films for the year. There were some other films that I did check out. I haven't picked up the new Halloween Ends 4K. I know that came out this week, but again, I was so disappointed in that film. Not that it's the worst film I've ever seen, and I know it's very divisive for a lot of people, but I think the problem for me is that anybody, and this is again for anybody who's seen that film, if you took the plot point of what they were trying to do with our to our main characters, I'm not talking about Michael Myers or Jamie Lee Curtis, I'm our two other main characters. If that was just its own film on its own about a slasher, it probably would have been effective and would have worked pretty darn good. But being a Michael Myers film, no, that really brought it down big time for me. But I will get it. Obviously, I'm going to get it and add it to the collection. Got to complete the the Halloween films. So I will eventually pick that one up. But Barbarian was great, creepy, fantastic. Just things that you would not think are going to happen. Just over the top more and more and more throughout that film. That's one that physical release comes out. I will definitely be picking that one up. But I think this year, other than like theatrical releases that came out, this year for films, especially like with 4K, was about the classics. There were so many films that finally got 4K, upgrades. And not just that, but even just standard Blu-ray. There were a lot of films that just shocked me with some of the things that you would never think. Some of the these hidden gems. Some of these films that probably have never even got DVD releases, let alone maybe a VHS release back in the day, got Blu-ray releases, which is just nuts to think about. So it was a great year overall for physical media. Anybody who says physical media is going away, yeah, don't listen to them, because it is here. It's still doing well thanks to great boutique labels out there. But it was just a great overall year for movies, physical media, just great. So like, subscribe, and comment for the chance, everybody. And Happy New Year once again to everyone. And thank you so much for sticking with the channel and watching these videos, watching me babble on and ramble on about all these films. So I'll catch you in another video. Take care.